if you sit for 3 hours and think about your girlfriend or any other thing for 1 hour or 1.5 hours,
do these 300 questions and you can just crack any company. Use Stack Overflow to retain their jobs and pretend that they are not using it, but actually everyone does. So there are questions you just can't solve. No matter how many questions you practice, you reach a level where ab logic fir bhi nahi ban.
tech giants in today's date don't lose out on their stock value.
Just yesterday, I think Meta lost 25% of its value in one day. Do you think that these courses that are taught on, Coursera, do they have relevance? Do they have that potential that, you can just do machine learning from Coursera? Andrew Ng's course is very popular. And can you get the relevant skills? Or do you think these courses are overhyped and you experience? How was your interview experience? How many rounds?
So for me, I guess my interview was a fun thing. So we had 2 technical rounds. What matters is how you answer the questions. So one of the things that most, people who clear interviews in one go, they advise.
Then I had some rapid fire questions and you have to, answer them quickly and you have to be honest about it. Okay.
Let me take the liberty to say that although the courses are, very knowledgeable and informative, there was no single course that benefited me really.
Of expectations यार day one है और बहुत अच्छा है, अच्छा जाएगा, and I reached in the last round और last round में मैं wait करती रही रात तक, अभी result आएगा और result आया but मेरा नहीं था उसमें. So it was very hard for felt that I wish ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए. This is not the way that things in system.
Be it web development, app development, machine learning, master it. Show me that you know it better than anyone around you. And even if you don't have a degree, I'm ready to give you a job.
Thank you so much for being here, guys. Let me introduce you to he is also an iconic mentor from an academy. He has also done NLP intern at Oracle and grabbed a PPO there. He has done a software intern at Morningstar. He has also done a quantitative analyst role at CLT Research LLP and also a quant intern at River Quant Research. He is also the campus director for HALT Business School from IITB. He was also a software developer at AICL Communications. Oh my God, Manan! I think this entire interview we can cut short and just keep talking about your experiences. 1 hour will go in that. So, itni sari cheezein, itne kam time mein, how to do that for somebody who's watching?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for this amazing, let me say a bit exaggerated intro.
Nothing is false. Everything is true.
Yeah. So I'll just say one thing. I have that, insect inside me, कीड़ा जिसे कहते हैं, to never sit idle, to just keep on doing something. So
पढ़ाई करी. How many hours a day have you studied? You have to reveal it now.
Okay. So in IIT, frankly, I'm not one of the guys who's, into the books and into the PDFs, that stuff. So for me, I guess number of hours doesn't matter. What matters is your productivity. So if you sit for 3 hours and think about your girlfriend or any other thing for 1 hour or 1.5 hours, that's not worthwhile, no? So sit on the screen, even if it's for just 2 hours, but make sure every bit of your concentration is there, and that's what makes a difference.
When we get stuck, we don't know how to build that logic while we are at very beginner stage. When we are solving problems, right, we get stuck, we are not able to build the logic and we lose interest. So what would you say, how to not lose motivation at that time?
Fair enough. So Alicia, for this, I'll say this. Let me ask a counter question to any of the viewers. So when you were in, let's say, 6th standard and you were getting introduced to algebra, so you must have done 1 plus 2 is equal to 3, but 1 plus negative of 2 is equal to negative of 1. So practicing negative multiplications or solving equations of x or finding the roots of a quadratic equation, many of us would have come across situations where we would not have been able to find the solution just in the first time. But what approach did we use? We probably practiced a few more questions or revised the formulas. And I guess that's how coding works as well. So if you're not able to find the logic, there's just one way. Leave the question, think about some of the problems, practice more, and eventually with practice, the logic starts clicking you automatically. Another way is go through the solution, learn the solution, and apply it in other questions.
Now that you talked of practice, many people ask this, right? So there are so many platforms to practice. You can name a platform from every letter I have heard. C say if you start Code Chef, Code Forces. L se pucho lead code. I say Interview Bit. From every letter there's a platform now. So from which platform to practice so that we get a direction? Just keep practicing from this. Do these 300 questions and you can just crack any company you want. What is that platform?
Okay, so for me, there's no particular platform as such, but I mostly, for example, 80 to 90% of the time use code forces. For the remaining 10%, I used to give tests on CodeChef and HackerRank. However, I didn't personally follow any preparation strategy for that. And apart from that, I used to refer Geeks for Geeks and Stack Overflow a lot. So for any query, I just used to go to this site. And if I read a solution, say on Geeks for Geeks, I just won't stay there. I'd come to the bottom. On the bottom, there are relevant questions, matching questions. So I'd go to one or two questions relevant to that.
Okay, about Stack Overflow, I heard that that's a quote that 75% of programmers just use Stack Overflow to retain their jobs and pretend that they are not using it, but actually everyone does. So coming to that now, when you talk of using these platforms for help or asking people for help, coming to this now, during your preparation, right, did you have someone to ask for help or discuss, like did you have a friend with whom discussing made it easier?
So that's a very, very good question, Alicia. And I will advise every viewer of this video to definitely keep this in mind. A community or a group of peers is a very, very big support during your coding journey. So if a few of you are sitting, so not only discussing ideas opens your mind to newer ways of doing the same question, but also when you're stuck and not able to think of anything, it opens your gates to solutions. So one thing I'll strongly advise is to do coding in a community. It's not important that you have the community with people who are sitting besides you. An online community would help as well, but a community is essential. And if you also can have some seniors in the community, that will be amazing, because if you get stuck, then you know that he's the guy who can 99% solve my question.
Coming to challenges, Manan. So during your preparation, you would have faced some hurdles and challenges. So tell us about them and how did you overcome them? Because I see that while coding, I mean, you tend to give up a lot, or there are questions you just can't solve. No matter how many questions you practice, you reach a level where ab logic fir bhi nahi ban raha hai. So there are a lot of such challenges. What was it for you?
Okay, so I'd like to share there are two approaches for this. So one is if you take coding as a task, or as a benchmark कि यार ये तो achieve करना है. So of course जो जब situation नहीं होगा, जब question नहीं होगा, you'll feel that's a hurdle. I'm stuck here. But what's the second approach? Treat it like a hobby. Treat it जैसे badminton खेलते हो. If you learn tennis. So is it like you go to the field, you pick up the racket and you start hitting, forehand shots on the first day? No, na. You do service, कभी net में जाती है, कभी बाहर जाती है. So what do you do? Do you give up? Do you run away from the field? No. You take up the racket and you practice. नहीं जाती, you analyze. क्यों गई net में? Why did it go? What can I do? Shall I lift it more? Shall I spin it more? Shall I take a longer stroke? Do the same with coding. When you get stuck, if it's your hobby, if you're taking it as a task just to knock off something off your list, then it'll irritate you with time. One error, two error, three error, four balls into the net, and now you're like throw the racket and go away. But if it's your hobby, you'll analyze, where did I go wrong? Did I use the wrong data structure? Did I use the wrong algo? Can I do it faster? Is it a TLE? Then you'll think about it. Okay, it's a TLE. Let me make it faster. Let me think what I can do. Let me discuss it with peers. And when this approach kicks in, 90% of the work is done. 10% is no mystery.
To that. So Manan, how was your internship experience? Could you share that, and then we'll come to how was the internship interview. But first, let's start with how was actually your experience working at Oracle, and when you went there first day, were you like very excited that, oh my god, I am at this very amazing company, it's the dream company of so many people, or were you like, no matter what, I'm going to be the best intern here, I'm going to just start working so hard? What was your reaction there?
Okay, so that's actually a very tricky and nice question, but yeah, I'll put the thoughts that I think are relevant and interesting. So yeah, I was definitely excited and interested in what Oracle has to offer. And since Oracle is one of the biggest tech giants, and Oracle has increased its profit margins and revenues this year, so I was looking forward to what Oracle is bringing next into
Has
the
Oracle given you stocks as a part
I'm
of
sorry.
package? So as a part of the package, you would have got stocks, right? So that's a very positive news.
Right. Thank you. That's a positive news. Baki, it could be any firm. It could be Google. It could be Microsoft. It could be Apple. Mostly tech giants in today's day don't lose out on their stock value.
Just yesterday, I think Meta lost 25% of its value in one day.
Now, when we bring Mark Zuckerberg into picture, things can vary things. So no comments on that. But yeah, let's take the stable tech firms. So thinking, talking about them, the stocks mostly give a positive trend. So that was a good thing. Further, Oracle has amazing resources in fields of learning. For example, on the day one at induction only. So since due to COVID, we couldn't, perform the internship offline. We had to do it remotely. But the induction program held even remotely online was really good. They introduced us to all the learning resources Oracle offers. They told us about the various offices of Oracle in India and many other such things. And overall, the internship experience was very good. So, as you said in the last, I didn't really have a very competitive spirit right on the first day that, I am going to be the best intern out of 220 interns. However, I just wanted to have a great learning experience. And that's the only way I've ever viewed internships. I just want to keep my learning curve on a great track. And says internships purpose is only to introduce you with the field, to get you started with something, and not they don't expect you to be a master of the field they are providing you internship in. So my manager also, so we had a mentor and a manager. My mentor allotted me a my manager allotted me a mentor, and my mentor gave me 1 week. He shared the relevant links, he shared the relevant resources, and he said, Manan, take 1 week and study these thoroughly, study the neural networks, study the configuration. So for the first and second year students who are not aware what neural networks are, in simple terms, this is a part of deep learning, which is the next level for machine learning. So I had an internship in this domain. So the main point being, my mentor gave me sufficient time to learn about this, and mostly that's what internship is about. To research about various NLP modules that are there, various BERT transformers, and of course, this is appreciated anyway. Like I guess any firm would appreciate if you bring new ideas to the table, and if you suggest how to do things in a new way which hasn't been done before. So that option was also there for me. I could bring new insights to the table, and that's what any research intern is about.
Now, coming to the start of your journey, as you mentioned, you had an NLP intern. So for that, did you already know machine learning fundamentals, deep learning fundamentals? And then the second follow-up question, which is very important, is students are in a race to do DSA and competitive. At least those who are preparing, they know DSA तो करना ही है, उसके बिना नहीं होने वाला. But उसके अलावा machine learning करें या नहीं करें, development करें या नहीं करें, front end, back end, Android development, कितनी सारी और चीजें हैं. So what do you think? Should people do these things on resume matter?
Okay, now I'll just tell a few things that do matter. So DSA is a must. Then a few. Mostly one very good or two decently good projects are a must. So I particularly recommend, if you want to make a great resume that stands out, especially if you're not from a tier one college. So I'll recommend that one project in machine learning and one in development is something that gives you an edge. Even if you don't do both the things, say machine learning as well as development, try to do decent projects, like make something good in machine learning. Don't just do the petal classification thing that's given at the basic of every chapter. Like your recruiter knows this is the first thing every book does. So try to stand out. So if you, even if you do one good thing in machine learning, that'll be good. And yeah, competitive coding, it's not a must, but if you do, it makes cracking the coding test easier.
What do you think that these courses that are taught on Coursera, do they have relevance? Do they have that potential that you can just do machine learning from Coursera? Andrew Ng's course is very popular, and can you get the relevant skills? Or do you think these courses are overhyped and you have to put in a lot of effort? Let's say under a professor you have to do a project, then only it matters.
No, I absolutely agree with what you said formally. So Coursera courses are very relevant and they provide a good learning solution. So I believe every student, for example, the Interview Experience course offered by the Stanford University, that's a very good course. And even if it's not very advanced, but the basic course in machine learning, it gives you an idea what machine learning is about. So a student who's hearing the word machine learning and wants to get introduced with it, I believe he must go for it. And any such course on Coursera.
Okay, that's really amazing. Now let's come to your interview experience. How was your interview experience? How many rounds?
For me, I guess my interview was a fun thing. So we had two technical rounds, one round with the HR, and of course there was one test. So technical rounds, they asked us DSA and coding questions. Write a program which does XYZ, do this, do this. I guess 2 to 3 questions were there in each interview. Each interview was 45 minutes to 1 hour. And I guess apart from having knowledge, one of the things that matters is how you answer the questions. So one of the things that most people who clear interviews in one go, they advise, even if for example, suppose there's a question which has an order of n solution, and its brute force will be order of n square. So one of the things I was advised by my seniors was, first of all, tell the order of n square solution. Even if you know the order of n solution, then they'll say, very good, you can do this. Can you optimize this? Then do the n log n solution. They'll be impressed. Take another 5 minutes to think, and then tell the order of n solution. So you can try to do such sort of things. That gives a good impression, especially if you're able to act. If you act in a messed up way, trust me, it's done. You're done. They're not going to ask you next question. But yeah, if you act out that as if you actually thought at that moment, trust me, nothing gives the recruiter a better impression and a better adrenaline rush. So that is something you can go for. Apart from that, yeah, in the HR round, so HR round, I'll suggest be natural. Don't try to fake anything because HRs have good experience, they'll know it. So be natural, show a positive approach towards the work you're doing, show a positive attitude towards staying in the firm. In general, have a loyal personality. Don't tell them I'm going to start up or I'm going to switch the firm after 1 year. That's like, of course, if you tell this, I'm going to switch firm after 1 year, which firm will hire you? So just stay natural, stay optimist, and stay loyal. These basic values will help you clear the HR round, and that's it.
That's really amazing. And what about your experiences at other companies? You have done a lot of other interns. How are your experiences there?
Mostly my all experiences, Hanji.
I was also saying that could you also add your interview experiences along with your internship experiences?
Okay, so
because I mean, you have worked at a big firm like Oracle, and you have also worked at other firms which may not be that big, but I'm sure they would have also taught you something very valuable. For example, you had done ML intern at Palpex, and then you have done a quant intern at River Quant Research, and I mean there are a lot of such things. So because of that,
right. So I'll just say one thing: just do what you love. That doesn't mean give up when first hurdle comes. Try to stick around, try to play with it. For example, if your first hit at tennis goes into the net, don't just throw the racket and run away. Try giving a few shots, put your honest energy once. And even after sustained effort, if you think that doesn't work, then just try switching the streak. And once you're doing what you love, trust me, there's nothing stopping you.
So Manan, I had some rapid fire questions, and you have to, answer them quickly, and you have to be honest about it. Okay.
I will be.
Okay, so I have a few questions, about 10 questions. So let's get started. Okay, you have to be very quick. That's the fun part of it. Okay, so Manan, so what did you do of your internship money?
What did I do off my internship?
Of your internship money.
What did I do off my internship money? So yeah, I traveled and I had whatever I wanted to purchase, I did purchase. I purchased a few things for my parents first. That is something I wanted to do. So I purchased things for my mother, father, and my sister. And then I used that money to travel. I didn't travel to Goa, but I had some fun.
Okay, amazing. So if given an opportunity, will you choose Oracle or would you want to wait and sit for a better company?
No, Oracle. Done.
You have to say that since you're joining Oracle, or
let's not say that.
Okay, what is your dream company? I mean, if not Oracle, what else?
I don't have a dream company. I have a dream thing. So I just say I want to keep loving what I do, and that's also wherever life takes me.
Okay, next question. Are IITs overhyped? You have to be honest.
I don't want to answer this. But okay, are IITs overhyped? So yeah, frankly, a little they are overhyped. However, the hype is worth it.
Okay, very diplomatic. If you want to choose another profession, you can maybe be in diplomatic, international relations. Anyway, let's go to the next question. What was the worst course that you did in IITB?
Let me take the liberty to say that although the courses are, very knowledgeable and informative, there was no single course that benefited me really.
Oh my God. Let's go to the next question. So next question is, what about your rejections that you have faced during internship, during tests, and how did you, take them? Because honestly, for me, when I was giving the first internship interview, and it was on day one, so I had a lot of expectations. Yeah, day one hai, और बहुत अच्छा जाएगा. And I reached in the last round. और last round में wait करती रही रात तक, अभी result आएगा. और result आया, but मेरा नहीं था उसमें. So it was very hard for me because I didn't know how to face that, and I was like एक दिन तक मुझे किसी से बात नहीं करनी. So how to handle rejections, because I think it's very important for those who are appearing for the first time.
Right. I know that's a very key point, Alicia. and बहुत बच्चे experience करते हैं. And myself, I have experienced, rejections dozens of times. But so the thing I realized a bit late is whenever you give any interview now, so what's my hobby is, in the end, interviewer asks you if I have any questions. So one of my favorite questions is I ask for a feedback. Sir, can you please share the feedback of my interview? Do you think could you please share my strengths as well as my weaknesses, the things I should work on? So the strengths, they act as fuel for me. They motivate me that yeah, I did these things good. So I'll keep them in mind. I'll probably note them down that these are my strengths and I have to work on and have to maintain them. And my weaknesses I'll work. So ultimately are there can be just a finite number of weaknesses. No, keep on working on them. So now you know 5 weaknesses. Work on them. Next interview में probably दो चार और आ जाएंगी. Work on them. There'll be a stage eventually you'll start cracking interviews like this. You have that personality element. Now just knowledge is a thing. So keep on studying the questions, and that'll work.
Okay, I guess that's really motivating to keep on doing it, and eventually, if you just get rejected, it just means that you have to upskill yourself, and again you can crack it. It just means that. Okay, so let's go to the next question. So the thing that people ask me most is, when are you making a series on dynamic programming and graphs? From where do we learn DP and graphs? They're the toughest topics to crack, and no matter how many questions we do, there is always a new variety that pops up. So how to approach these type of questions, and where is the best method to practice? What is the best way to
उसमें
practice these?
उसमें तो I'll say this ma'am at Microsoft, she has much more experience than me.
Oh,
So you would have definitely practiced during your placement preparation at much more sources. And for example, you must have explored lead code interview bit. So you will be knowing kiska content better hai. For example, I just practice code forces now. I'll go through a problem. My approach was simple. Choose one platform, stick with it. Nahi bane, see the solution, learn from it. Do more problems. Keep on practicing until the thing starts clicking you intuitively. So if you want some platform name,
Numanan, I just have a last question. So my last question is that um, when we think of our education system, right? I mean, let's talk as two individuals who are, just completing our education, at least undergraduate level, of course, as postgraduate, and a lot of things we may want to do. But till now, from the JE days to being in this college, there are a lot of things in education system which we would have felt that I wish ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए. This is not the way that things in system should work. Is there something you would like to change? Because I think young people, I think they bring in fresh perspectives. It's very important to understand from those who are using the system, and think about how we can change it.
okay. So I have a very revolutionary thought on this, and I'd strongly advise 11th and 12th students to not go by this strategy, but someone who is in college. So what I have realized, most of my learning is via internships and via work, and not via college courses. And regardless, the culture today, most of the college students, they're not reading or learning from what their professor is teaching. They're either YouTubing stuff or doing Stanford courses or doing Coursera courses. I personally know just very few students who are actually learning based on what professor is teaching in the class. So this is, I believe, something that is drastically in contrast to how our education system should be. So for anyone who's not in 11th and 12th and is in college, I'll just say that take your courses, read them enough, study them enough to get a decent grade, so that your employer doesn't screen you out on the basis of that. However, if you really want to learn something, if you're one of the serious guys who want to make something out of his college life and doesn't want to just while away time or satisfy a minimum passing criteria, go online, read about stuff, know why things work. So that's something. In short, be interested in learning. And there are much better sources to learn. Stay sincere to yourself, and then sky's the limit.
So if I would like you to comment, especially since you are also a trader, you may also, look at the future. I have this interesting perspective that I don't know how relevant college education will be for the next generation. Let's say for the generation that comes after us, how relevant, will college education be? Because getting a degree has become maybe more easy and convenient at just at your own pace and at your own convenience. So what do you think about that?
So in my opinion, even in today's date, degree is just a piece of paper. What you really are is defined by how you speak, how you communicate, what's your personality, and most important, how much have you learned? What do you really know? So if hypothetically I get to make the education policy, I'll try to enforce something on the lines of vocational learning. Take up a skill, be it web development, app development, machine learning, master it. Show me that you know it better than anyone around you. And even if you don't have a degree, I'm ready to give you a job.
That's a very interesting, I guess, last words, because really, it just, to summarize in one line, it says you can do anything if you just believe, if you want to do. I mean, there are resources out there. Nobody can make that excuse anymore that hum kahan se seekhte, we didn't have that, privilege. If you have an internet, you have everything that you need. So that's really interesting take. So thank you so much, Manan, for agreeing to do this. And I hope a lot of people get inspired. If